Good afternoon. I wanted to do a video on the Kel-Tec RDB that I put a 4-part series out on a while back, going through kind of the process of my experience with this rifle and the issues that I came across while I was documenting my experience. When I got this rifle, it was still a fairly new rifle. I got it in October of 2016, and I think at that time it had only been out maybe 6 months. But that's just a ballpark. I don't really remember the manufacturer's release date on this rifle. But anyway, I got it in October of 2016, and I started filming, my experience. I did an unboxing and initial impressions of the rifle. In that, I was elated that I got it. I was happy and excited to have a bullpup type rifle. So when I got this rifle, I was very happy to have received it. I found it at a local gun shop in my hometown, and I immediately went down and picked it up. So I got it back, started filming it, took it out of the box, took it to the range, and I edited that video and put that video up. Now this was an initial, reaction type video, and I started to document the problems that I was experiencing as I was experiencing them. The only videos that were out on YouTube at that time were, sponsored by Kel-Tec. I think Nut and Fancy had put out a video. I think Military Arms Channel may or may not had one at that point. But there were videos that were out there that Kel-Tec was heavily involved. A lot of these rifles were prototype rifles. They were pre-release rifles that Kel-Tec was sponsoring these channels to do reviews on. So they had access to the manufacturer, and these guns were not the release guns that a lot of people were experiencing. That said, there wasn't a lot of real-world experience with this rifle when I received mine, and so I felt it was important to put out information of what one consumer's experience was versus what the manufacturers were putting out as propaganda type information. So that being said, I started to document. I made that first video, and I put up some of the issues that I was starting to experience, thinking, hey, these are point in time. These are not going to be indicative of the overall experience, but here's a snapshot. So moving forward, I was aware of the gas system. I was aware of opening it to increase the cycling strength and decreasing it, or closing it to limit the gases that were bled off that would cause a faster cycle of the bolt. So, trying different ammunition, I started to experience something that I had not considered before, and that was double feeds. Now, when you get a double feed on this rifle, the way to clear it is you've got to eject the magazine and you've got to stick your fingers up in there and try to remove the double feed. Now, I was getting a double feed on this rifle probably every magazine or so, and I was there. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of information out there as to why these double feeds were could potentially be occurring, but so I was trying to figure this out on my own, and I was reading online that steel case magazines were causing problems. These notches cut out here on the AR style GI mags. They reading on the internet about after I started to experience those double feeds, about potential problems with magazines. I was reading about how people's hands were hitting this magazine ejection lever here on the back. If you had fatter hands and your hand was bumping this lever, that was causing the magazines to fall out. But that didn't explain the double feeds of the magazine. So that being said, I was still at a loss as to why this was occurring. So I started to go through a troubleshooting process where I was looking for things that were repeatable. So I started trying, what are some of the simple things? Well, all of the materials that I was using, the magazines, so I've got the GI mags, and I've got Lancers, and I've got Magpul mags. All of those magazines worked fine in my AR-15s. I didn't have a problem with the magazines. The next that I was logically going through in my mind was, okay, well, all of this ammo works fine in all of my AR-15s. I have 3 AR-15s. I don't have any problems with any of this ammo. This is not something that I experience. I don't experience any defects whatsoever with any of the ammo that I own. I know it's out there, but I'm not experiencing it, right? So, I can go and do a mag dump on any mixture of rounds that I have in my inventory, and my guns will cycle that ammunition. So I don't think it's the ammunition. So at this point, the only thing that I'm left with is, what's the other variable in all of this? And it's the gun, right? So the gun, to me, is where the potential problem is. So I start adjusting the gas tube, right? So the gas system here, and I'm opening it up incrementally. I'm thinking, okay, it's not stripping around when the bolt is coming back, is cycling back. The gases are pushing it off, but it's not grabbing that round and pulling it out. So there's something in the gas system. Maybe it can't grab a hold of it. It's moving too slow or something like that. So let me open up the gas system a little bit more, give it some more gas, and hopefully that'll start stripping the rounds. So when it grabs the next round and feeds it in, there's nothing there, right? Because it stripped that round out. Well, this goes on over months and months and months, right? I'm not just doing this all in one range sitting. So, going to the range is expensive, as most of you know. So anyway, I make these adjustments, and I open it up maybe 3 or 4 notches. The problem reoccurs. I have a mixture of brass and steel ammo, and so I haven't made the connection yet that steel is where my problem's at. And now I've concluded in my last video that this gun doesn't like steel, right? So there's a spoiler alert. That's where I'm going with this. So I am going through all the different rounds. I'm trying the gas settings. None of that's making an impact. I started looking at the magazines, because I do have some magazines. Some of the GI mags are starting to show somewhere where they're falling out. So I'm thinking, okay, let me start focusing a little bit more attention on these magazines, right? So I've opened up the gas system a couple of notches. Now the magazines are giving me a problem. So I identify a couple of mags. I decide, all right, screw it. I know these P mags are working fine, so I'll just go with the P mags, and I'll stop using AR mags. Well, I'm still having double feeds. So, well, what the hell? I'm still not thinking it's the ammunition. I'm still thinking there's a problem with the gun. So I open it up a couple more notches, and I try it, and it still jams. So, I wrap it up for that day, and I wait a little while, a couple months, and I go back out to the range. Out to the range it goes, right? So I figure, okay, well, I'm using a specific kind of mag. I'm only going to use P mags now, and what else could it be? Well, I don't know. So I think on that range visit, I didn't take a lot of steel ammo. I took a lot of I don't know, some brass case. I don't remember which kind it was, but I did have some steel with me. And so, I'm shooting the brass and everything's going fine. I'm thinking, hey, it's the magazines. I've cured the problem. And then I get to the steel case, and they make it into a magazine, and bam, double feeds. Crap. So this has been going on for months now, and I'm not a paid person. This is simply my experience. So, I'm taking out this brand new gun that I've got. This gun that I paid more for than I paid for any other gun that I own. I paid full retail for it. I think it was $13.50 out the door. So I've put a lot of money into this gun, and here it is. It keeps having this friggin' problem, and I don't know what the cause is. So, I'm back. I've got another jam now. This is a couple of range visits in. I've had it 6 months or so, and now. Actually, not even that long. I think I've had it about 3 months, 2 to 3 months at this point. And, I've been to the range a few times. And now I decide, okay, well, I'm going to open up the gas system a little bit more. Turns out I have it all the way open now. All right. So my theory that it's not extracting the round because it doesn't have enough gas is potentially causing more of an issue than for me to look at maybe something else in the system. And so I will admit I probably contributed. I most likely contributed to the failure that I'm about to explain to you that I experienced. But again, there wasn't a lot of information out there, and I don't have a lot of money to go and just do all kinds of manufacturers experimentation for them. So I'm doing it with what I have in the time that I have, and I'm thinking that it's one thing when it turns out I think it's something else. But now I have the gas system all the way open, and I'm shooting, and then all of a sudden, parts start falling out from the bottom. So I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? So I pack the whole thing up. I take it home. I'm looking around on the internet. I think I've put 2 videos up at this point. I'm doing another video about this one being broken, and someone comments. I think it was on one of my videos, but it could have been in a forum as well, that there was a problem with the Keltec bolts, and the bolts they had remanufactured the bolts, and I may have a first generation bolt that Keltec would repair under warranty. So I start the warranty process. Hey, Keltec, they were good about that. They seemed a little iffy at first, but they took the rifle back at my cost, and then they had it for a while through the holidays of 2016, and I got it back, I want to say around February of 2017. January, February of 2017, I got it back. So they had it probably a month and a half or so, 2 months maybe. I get it back, and I take it out to the range, thinking, okay, they fixed my gun. I did take it apart this time, and I read up on the gas system, and I noticed that it had a new bolt in it. So I'm thinking, score, rock on. This is the problem. They replaced the bolt. The bolt's going to be the problem. I'm going to be able to shoot whatever I want. The documentation that comes with the warranty repair says that they have it set on setting 3 from the manufacturer, and that they've been able to cycle ammunition through without any problems. So this gun is fixed. I'm excited now, right? So I get the gun back out to the range. That first weekend I get it back, and I'm thinking, okay, let me just do brass. So run brass magazines through it, perfect. Not a single hiccup, not a single flaw. Shoots like a dream. So then I'm thinking, okay, let me experiment. So I go and I load up a magazine of steel case, thinking, worst case scenario, I'm going to maybe get a couple of rounds off, maybe half a mag or so, and then I'll experience a problem if I'm going to experience one. And so I put that magazine in, and the very first shot, double feed. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to keep going through this process of trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this rifle. The problem is steel cased ammo in the Keltec RDB does not like to cycle. Now, your mileage may vary. Your gun may shoot just fine. You may have identified that your Tula ammo or your Brown Bear or whatever it is that you're shooting in your gun works fine on setting 5, but on setting 3 is for brass. That's fine for me if that's what you want to do, but that's not how I'm going to run my gun. I know now that this gun will only use brass ammo. I will not try to put any other ammo in it. Steel cased ammo is off the map for this gun. If we come into a shit hit the fan situation and I've got to run steel cased ammo through it and that's all I have available to me, then I will dick around with the gas settings again and maybe find what works for the steel case, but I'm not going to jack with it anymore. This is a brass case gun only, and I will continue to only use steel cased ammo in my AR-15s. Now, if you want to get into a dialogue about steel case versus brass case, I don't really care to have that conversation. But regardless, this gun is a brass case gun only. So that's been my experience. A lot of people comment. I've had several different people comment on my 4-part series that that I don't comment or I don't mention that I adjusted the gas settings, and people are always quick to point out, you know, you didn't adjust the gas settings. Well, no, I did. I did adjust the gas settings after the first video, until it was finally, you know, the gas was completely wide open. And I, I think that contributed to the problem as much as anything. You know, my inexperience with this particular gun, my lack of taking a systematic approach to troubleshooting this system, you know, eliminating all variables, you know, things like that that I could have done better. I did not do, but I didn't feel like I was, you know, having to diagnose this problem for the manufacturer. With that said, you know, that's been my experience. If you've watched the 4-part series and you made a comment on it and you're back to this video, you know, I appreciate you know, going through those videos and you know, looking at them for what they are. They're a point in time. They're a period where this gun was still really new on the market, and the problems that I was experiencing were real time to me. So take that for what it's worth. This is a conclusions video, kind of this is where the gun is in retrospect after all of that knowledge and experience has been gained, and this is where I am with it today. So with that said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And if you have other people who are considering this gun, you know, you can send them to our Facebook page. I run a Facebook group for the Kel-Tec RDB. If you want to go there, you know, share your experiences. That it's still growing. That's a growing group. You know, and then there's the Kel-Tec forums as well. So at any rate, if you like this video, like I said, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't, and have a great day. Thanks a lot. Happy shooting.